Tyler Shuck offense gets shut down. Reaction, Rams 34, Saints 10. All right, this is off the bench. Jacob Hester, Matt Flynn. Really excited to hear what they have to say about this, specifically Matt Flynn, because I want to hear what he has to say about Shuck's first start and see where we go from here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, sit down. Get your life together. Get excited. It's another day. And lo and behold, the face of the franchise, the best to ever do it, is posting videos.
New Orleans Saints.
Woo!
They go down 34-10 to the Los Angeles Rams.
Did Tyler Shuck provide a spark?
They got extinguished before he got started.
Got it.
So, yeah, no spark. Tyler Shuck, 15 of 24, 176 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and he was, very elementary in his reads, but that's what kind of the offense called for. So I don't even know that I'm blaming Tyler Shuck.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Shuck was all right. I mean, I thought he was okay. I thought at certain points he looked good. At certain points he looked, like he was playing for the Saints. But overall, I think he was okay. And there's enough there to be, I don't want to say like, I wouldn't build the statue yet, but there's enough there to be like, all right, we can work with this. Arm looked good. Arm looked live. He got, similar to Rattler, he got kind of cooked by his own players a majority of the game, whether it was horrific guard play, whether it was horrific wide receiver play, whether it was horrific catching ability from players or fumbling from players or whatever. But overall, I think he could probably, feel pretty good about the performance, especially in that spot. Horrible spot to play in.
For how they started that game, and that's what you were going to get. If you hit reset again and you were going to get a guy that was getting his first start, you were not going to get a level of play that was going to beat a team like the Los Angeles Rams.
No, Los Angeles Rams, very good football team. It looked like a lot of the same. Looked very similar to most of their offensive productions. They struggled. I think they had 3 3-and-outs to start the game.
Yep.
I think it's the second team all season. I think the Ravens did it a few weeks ago in an abysmal offensive performance. They tied with the lowest plays recorded for offense. I think they had 40 total plays in the game. Yeah. So one of 2 teams this season to have 40 offensive plays. So a lot of
think about how bad that was for the Saints that they had 40 plays. And now think about the Raiders having 30 plays. The Raiders had 30 plays a couple of weeks ago. 30. That is crazy. 30 total plays. Kyron Williams had 25 carries in this game.
3-and-outs. But it kind of looks similar to, like, let's rewind to the Chicago Bears game where, everyone had, criticizing turnovers. That's when, like, the turnover run kind of started. 3-and-out, and then all of a sudden get a little spark for 2 minutes before the half, which, I was kind of talking about that week. Like, the best way to kind of get a struggling offense rhythm and going a little bit is to run a little bit of no huddle, 2 minute. But it looked like a lot of the same. I mean, we saw drops from Juwan Johnson. We saw
You don't say.
Nobody getting open down the field, having to hit running backs, having to hit shallow crosses underneath. Running game was kind of poo. It just looked like a really bad team playing a really good team.
True. And, the more I've watched, I hate to admit this, I've watched the Saints offensive plays. It only took 15 minutes, 16 minutes and 7 seconds to be exact. I have watched the Saints offensive possessions of this game. I watched it live, and then I rewatched it, and then I rewatched it again. So I've watched this 3 times. I've watched the Saints offense. And I'll tell you this. It is broken at the molecular level. When you watch these plays, and you can go and, there's a multitude of ways to do it, but when you go and watch them, you can pretty much watch any play and see what I'm talking about. Whether it's a running play, a passing play, doesn't really matter. The play almost doesn't even get started because of either a missed block, a missed assignment on the offensive line, pressure, and that causing pressure immediately in the quarterback's face, and him having to either release it before all the routes are developed, or it is busted almost immediately. And it's a group of, it's either on Ruiz, it's on Penning sometimes, It's a mess on the offensive line, which makes sense why all of a sudden we can't run the football, right? Like, they're just not doing what they're supposed to be doing on the offensive front. And then you look at the wide receivers and the tight ends and everything else. And man, there are a lot of plays where Rashid Shaheed or Chris Olave or whoever is not running out the route. There's a lot of plays where whoever, whether it's Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Juwan Johnson, are just straight up dropping the pass. It's a lot. And you know how I keep saying, like, don't look for a boogeyman? Like, don't look for Tyler Shuck or Spencer Rattler or Kellen Moore or Mickey Loomis or Gail Benson or Todd Graves or Jim Haslett or Aaron Brooks or Bobby Hebert or the head chef at Bobby Hebert's Cajun Kitchen. And this is why. Because if you watch the plays and you actually watch every player on the play, you don't just watch like the result of like, okay, did we gain yardage or whatever, you will see that these players are flat out for a majority of the time not doing their job. And you could say, well, James, isn't that on Kellen Moore to prepare them? In some situations, yeah, for sure. But the drops, the missed assignments, the fumbles, the not running the route, like just slowing down, giving up on a play, that kind of stuff, at some point these players have to be held accountable for how bad they are playing and how just nothing is out there.
That's what it looked like to me.
Fair.
And my God, I'm such a fan of Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, how could you not be?
He continues to elevate his game the older he gets.
He's kind of doing a Tom Brady. He's kind of doing a Tom Brady where he kind of had that moment where people were like, all right, and that moment was basically 6 months ago, where he had his back injury, and people were like, all right, well, you know, you trust him. He's old. He has a bad back. He hadn't really played. And he is looking as good as he's ever looked as far as just arm strength. When he drops back, you got to feel like $1 million. You got to feel so confident in what he's doing out there.
Yeah. We will get back to the Saints-Rams breakdown here, but I did get a quick message before he gets out of carpool. Memphis Hester wanted to tell Coach Matt Flynn, take the L, because the Panthers went into your trap and took your trap. And so Memphis wanted you to know.
You talking that ish this morning.
He wanted you to know that he's listening, just in case you want to break down that game a little bit later.
I don't really want to break down the game, but I will tell you that, as a, obviously a Packers fan, I'm very disappointed in that team. They always play to their competition.
It wasn't too long ago the Packers were the Super Bowl favorite.
And that competition was very bad.
Is Jordan Love good? Are we sure?
5-4 now.
They played to it.
Carolina over 500.
Over 500.
Don't look
right
now.
So I think the Packers might have the top 2 worst losses of the season in the NFL this year.
The Browns? I mean, at least the
then
Panthers
they lose to the
5-4.
Yeah, okay. They lose to the Panthers at home.
Yeah, and those ugly-ass uniforms. Oops, sorry.
I can't say that word, bud.
Ugly butt uniforms.
Oh.
They almost lose to the
Family
Bengals
show, guys.
4 days after Flacco signs there.
Yeah, sure.
They tie the Cowboys. There's another game they lost to. They shouldn't have, or almost should have. Anywho, it's not looking great for them. They always play to their competition, seems like.
All right. Sorry, I just had to get that in before Memphis gets out of carpool. He wanted to let you know what the final score
Memphis
was. Yes. Back to the Saints and the Rams. Matthew Stafford going against Tyler Shuck is never going to go your way.
No.
It's just not.
Look. I don't care about the Rams. I don't care about the final score. What I care about is just how inept the team looks. How we can't do anything. Like, the 3 and outs is what drives me crazy. The can't run the football, the missed assignments, the drops, all of that. I don't care if we're playing the Rams or if we're playing the Patriots or if we're playing that part doesn't matter. We have now reached the point to where the Saints are playing against the New Orleans Saints. And that part is just driving me nuts.
It's probably been the most surprising thing to me. And you could say, well, they got young quarterbacks. I just don't play that game anymore. I just don't. Like, Tyler Shuck's 26 years old. Spencer Rattler's played a lot of football. The NFL is completely different than it used to be. Like, used to, you would come in and you'd sit or whatever and you'd learn and, they'd put you in with the gloves on. Like, that's just not the NFL anymore. Like, we've just seen too many cases. And go back to last year's draft class of Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams and even Drake May at the end. Like, we've seen too much. Mm-hmm. Michael Penix coming in and playing well. Like, that's not the case anymore. Like, it's not, oh, I got a young quarterback. Because if you do that, you're just not going to win. You're not going to be competitive. You can't have, like, this baby game plan, I don't think, when you're playing anybody, much less the Rams.
No, and sometimes coming into a game thinking that and trying to, and I'm not saying they are. I'm speaking in more generalities here. When you have a young quarterback, sometimes you tend to try to protect him a little bit and not call the entire offense. That can be more detrimental to him than anything else, because you have an entire offense available for a quarterback for a reason. Because it creates different holes at different levels of the defense. There's different reads. You're giving the defense different looks. Like, the more dumbed down your offense is, the easier it is for defense to tee off on it. So I'm not saying that was the issue, because the issues with the offense looked like the same issues they've had the entire season.
Yeah, and this is kind of where I'm at. And after watching the Rams game 3 times and all that stuff, I mean, and this is another thing that we have talked about for weeks now, is that, there's been this divide in the Saints community of Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shuck. And that divide has almost become like a smoke bomb for what's actually happening. And people are so focused on Shuck or Rattler, Rattler or Shuck, that they're missing the absolute circus that's happening on everywhere else on the field. Tyler Shuck was not the problem in LA. Spencer Rattler has not been the problem for 99% of the season. Right? What has been the problem every single week is everyone else on the offense. Everyone else, every single week, has been bad. And not everyone as like an individual level, but just every phase of it. The offensive line has been bad every single week. The wide receivers have been bad to lackluster to whatever word you want to say every single week. The tight ends have been bad every single week. The running back room has been bad every single week. Like, that's the real problem. And it's almost like an Orwellian psyop or something, that everyone is so concerned about Shuck or Rattler that they're missing the real problem here. And until that gets fixed, there's nothing we can do. Until that problem gets fixed, and you know how that gets fixed, ladies and gentlemen? Drafts, free agent classes, turnover, personnel moves. That's how it gets fixed. It doesn't get fixed on Tuesday at a film study. It doesn't get fixed Wednesday at practice. No. What day is the draft? That's when it's going to get fixed.
Guys couldn't get open. We couldn't see the open guys. We had to keep hitting checkdowns. We couldn't get an established running game. Couldn't stay on schedule. Like, you couldn't convert on third downs. Like, it's the same story that we've seen over and over and over again. So I don't know if people thought that Chuck was actually going to create a spark. I think it's probably more of just like, hey, let's just see what's going on here. But I don't know if anybody expected them to just like overnight become a good offense, because Spencer Rattler hasn't played bad. Yeah, they went through a spell of turnovers, but hell, the Colts turned over 5 times yesterday.
6. Colts turned it over 6 times. The Colts had turned the ball over 4 times entering the game against the Steelers, and they turned it over 6 times in that one game.
Yeah. Saints turned it over 6 times in 2 weeks. Like those things happen. Yeah. Like, turnovers happen. There's ebbs and flows every season in the NFL. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. You just got to like come out of the low points at some point. I don't know if like people thought that overnight Tyler Shuck was all of a sudden going to operate this offense any differently. Maybe it does. Maybe he's learned a lot. Maybe, I don't know, maybe something. But like this offense, the team's not good.
Yeah, no.
You're getting a lot of good tries out there, a lot of good efforts.
Not even really. Not even at this point. There was good effort against San Francisco, Arizona, Buffalo. This has not been a good effort with LA, Chicago. This has not Tampa. This has not been a good effort at all. We are on a 3-week streak of not good efforts.
A good attaboys.
Yeah.
But the offensive line still stinks.
Yeah, but like
receivers can't get open.
But an attaboy in the way that, look, we've all coached teams at different levels, but like the one who's just like, a little bit behind, but he's trying hard, and you're like, he does something that is expected, but it's like he does it, and you're like, hey, attaboy. Yep. Attaboy, good job. That kind of attaboys, not because you're doing something good.
Right. It's because you're doing as good as you can.
It's because you got dressed and you are out there. You are at least physically on the field, kind of an attaboy.
Yeah.
You don't want these guys to feel bad.
Should never happen in the National Football League.
Devontae Adams, good football player. Puka Nacua, good football player.
Yeah, Puka Nacua's pretty.
Puka's
those
insane.
Guys are better than the entire
brother.
Saints.
Brother.
Matthew Stafford.
I don't know.
He might creep up my quarterback list, and he was already at 2.
I wonder what incriminating evidence some of these players have for this. It's wild, and
you think they got something on him
to be playing? Yes. What I mean,
or does Mickey have something?
Golly,
Mickey's got something, right?
I mean, Cesar Ruiz just continues to baffle me with some of the things that he does, and he got an extension. You know what I mean? It's like with Trevor Penning, he didn't play great at all, but it's like
Trevor's still on his rookie deal. I mean, he's kind of finishing this thing out. But that's what I'm saying. Like these players, it's one thing. And this has been the big knuckle curveball coming in at 84 miles an hour, breaking my kneecaps off this season, is that the players who it's like, all right, just be kind of stable. You don't have to be good or bad. Just exist, be stable, do your job, put in a C performance, get your lunch pail, punch your ticket, bologna sandwich, glass of milk. Those players have taken such a step backwards that they're not even they're not even playing at a starting NFL level player. And there's a bunch of them. Players that we were counting on. Players that we were counting on to just be kind of a glue piece.
Okay, well, they didn't pick up his option. They gave Caesar more money. They looked at that and said, "Oh, we want more years of that." It's just because you watch Kelvin Banks Jr., who you took in the first round, he's going to be a dude. He's going to be a long-time dude in the NFL. And so, you can see it there. But outside of that, Fuaga's okay here and there. He's hadn't found his consistency yet, but at least you can see something there.
Yep.
With Cesar Ruiz and even Trevor Penning, it's stop trying to make it work.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, they should not be starting in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
There's maybe Trevor Penning can go somewhere else and get a change of scenery, and maybe he can do something.
Whatever. Whatever.
Cesar Ruiz is somebody that you gave more money to, and he continues. He graded out this week again at under 50. He's 49. It is what it is.
Here's my.
Jawan Johnson's a good example. I don't need you to be Brock Bowers, but when you are called upon, just do the task. And we are seeing time and time again, he ain't doing the task. Whether you think he's really good or not, whatever, but you got to at least do the task. Ball's coming your way, catch it. It hits you in the hands, catch it. You catch it, go to the ground. Don't fumble it. And that goes across the board. It goes for all these receivers. It's all right, the task is run a go route. Okay, keep running the entire route. Don't slow down. Stuff like that.
Thing is we shouldn't even be mad at Cesar Ruiz. All right, be mad at the other signature on the contract, and I'm not talking about the notary. That's the issue.
I agree.
What are we doing? You can't be mad at the kid for re-signing a contract.
True. And this part is kind of what I was saying earlier about the personnel turnover and all that stuff. You got to remember, with every personnel decision, for the Saints. This doesn't happen with every team, but there's a lot of people involved, whether it's the coach wants a player, the scouting department personnel group wants a player, the GM, depending on the GM. Like if a GM is a personnel GM, they might be making decisions on their own, like Jerry Jones. Loomis isn't really a personnel decision GM. Loomis is more of a financial side of things, whatever. I don't think Loomis is watching SMU Miami and charting plays. That's not really what he's doing. So some of these players could be Dennis Allen players. He built out a body type, whatever, for the draft, scouted, got him, brought him in. Some of these could be Clint Kubiak guys. Some of these could be Pete Carmichael guys, LOL. If Pete Carmichael could figure out how to turn his DVD on to even play game tape. Some of these guys are Sean Payton guys, right? Like, there's a lot of moving pieces. What has to happen now is Kellen Moore and whoever his brain trust is have to figure out who are not Kellen Moore guys, who are not New Orleans Saints guys, and get them out of here. Okay? It's like the first year you take over a Madden franchise or an NCAA franchise or dynasty. You just have your roster, right? And it's like, okay, now I got to bring in my guys. Like, let's say you're playing NCAA or college football 26, and you want a mobile quarterback. That you want to run an option offense, and you got a 57 overall, 42 speed quarterback who's a statue back there. Well, that's not your guy. Your offense is not going to work with that guy. So now you got to change your offense up, whatever. Just survive the year until you can bring in your guy. That's where we are right now. So Kellen, whoever, they have to figure out, all right, blank, 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 blank are not New Orleans Saints. Get them out. And let's bring in New Orleans Saints.
Right. Obviously, he's not good enough to play in the NFL consistently and be a good player in the NFL.
Yeah.
If you can put a contract in front of anybody, they're going to sign it. Can't play.
I'd sign one right now. Yeah.
I don't know, man. That's a bad look. That roster compared to what you just saw.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even close. Like you're not even.
I mean, the Rams are a Super Bowl team.
One draft class, 2 draft classes away. You're like 3 draft classes plus 3 bangers of some free agent off seasons.
You got to do some stuff. You got to do some stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Draft class, this last one I think was good. At least a handful of players I'm comfortable with moving forward. This upcoming draft class, I'm filming this a couple hours before the deadline. Right now we got 5 picks. You better get some more. You better get some more. We need 6, 7, 8, 9 picks again. All right? Then the next draft class, and in between that, yeah, you got to bring in some free agents. Bring in new guards. Bring in new receivers, whatever. This is a 3-year, 2.5-year, whatever, because we're already halfway through this season, situation. Showing up. We play the Panthers next week, or this week. Showing up in that game and expecting to see something totally different, that ain't going to happen. Because the players are who they are. That's not to say we're going to lose every game, whatever. Like you can catch lightning in a bottle. But on the whole, you got to change like 80% of this roster. Maybe even more than that, honestly.
Away.
I mean, what did we talk about? I think last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, we kind of had a full segment on it. Like, if you were an NFL team and you were a new team, an expansion team, and they're like, okay, you can take 2 players from every team to create your roster. 2 from every team.
Do I have to?
Who? Like, think about how crazy that is, but think about, like, which 2 you would choose right now from the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, you take DeMario and, defensively, you take DeMario and Chase Young. Offensively, Jesus. If Eric McCoy's healthy, you take him. But right now, since he's not healthy, offensively, you take Kelvin Banks and I guess Chris Olave. And Kelvin Banks is kind of cheating because he's only played 9 games. Like you really don't even know. But he's just like, okay, I guess there's upside. If you took away the rookies, then it's Chris Olave and is it Rashid Shaheed by default? Just because he's fast, but no, who else do you take? You don't take Kamara. You don't take Penning. You don't take Ruiz. I guess Fuaga. He's not a rookie, but you don't take Juwan Johnson. You don't take Foster Moreau. You don't take Taysom Hill.
If you base it off age and because look, I'm not going to sit here and hate on a guy like Demario Davis. Like,
right.
Demario Davis is he's still playing.
Demario Davis could absolutely walk into any linebacker room in the NFL and start. He would make any contender better.
Good football. He's just on the other side of it. So, like, this is not disrespect to him because 5 years ago, absolutely. Hell, maybe 3 years ago. Like, outside of Kelvin Banks Jr., who are you taking on this team?
The holder?
No, because he's not very good at punting either.
All right.
Moose, Tate, y'all got a name that you feel confident about? Like, you can say,
maybe Chase Young.
Oh, Chase Young. I'd take Chase Young.
Might be the guy.
Yeah.
Chase Young's playing like a dude.
Fuaga's been pretty good, but that's it.
Yeah, I was going to say Eric McCoy before he got hurt, obviously. But, the injuries the last few years have really hampered him. But, consistently, he's one of the better centers in the NFL.
But you're right, injuries.
The injuries, yeah.
It's not, like, to Matt's point.
But to your point, he's not the best center in the NFL. You don't have the best of anything.
Well, no. You're the worst team. You're one of the worst teams in the NFL. And that part is why on this channel, I always tell y'all, look, sometimes it's good to take 400 steps back and look at the entire NFL. If you look at the entire NFL and you compare yourself to your peers, right now the Saints are in like a bottom 5, comfortably in the bottom 5. Like, we could just all agree there, universal truth. You look at those other teams down there, and it's like, okay, they're in very similar situations where it's like the roster's not great. There's some bums here and there, all right. You know what I mean? Like, no one's going to be like, man, the Tennessee Titans don't have any of the best position player. Of course not. They're awful. Like, that's how they got awful. It's like going to a bad restaurant and being like, man, there's nothing good on this menu. Yeah, I know that's why it's a bad restaurant. I can't be surprised. Like, you're eating at one of the worst restaurants ever, one of the worst restaurants in New Orleans, and being like, I can't believe there's not a good steak on this menu. You can't believe that? That's how they became bad. So that's kind of like, yeah, of course. Of course the Titans have a bad roster. That's how you become a bad team.
Wait. Somebody said, give me Young and Brzee? Like Brian? That's a choice.
Brian Brzee on a good team or a team that whatever, he would be like a rotational, like a situational player.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be like, hey, look, it's a passing down, bring in Brzee to rush the passer, and that's it.
I think the answer is nobody. You're not taking Chase Young over.
Brian Brzee graded out at 44.2.
Chase Young, I think, starts on a pretty solid amount of teams. I think a lot of teams would be very happy to have Chase Young. Chase Young would be fine. Demario Davis, same thing. He'd walk into any room, he'd start. He'd be cool.
His run stop grade was 28.6.
But like, if you're like Chris Olave, and I know I'm picking one team here because they just played last night, but like the Cowboys. If the Cowboys traded for Chris Olave, he's their 3. He's probably the 3 there. And if you count Jake Ferguson as like a pass catching target, Chris Olave is their 4th option for the Cowboys, who are 3-5, 3-5-1. And again, I understand you have CeeDee Lamb, you have George Pickens, you have Jake Ferguson, whatever. But Arizona, he's definitely not jumping Trey McBride, but is he the option over Marvin Harrison Jr.? And Marvin Harrison Jr. has been a bust up until right now. So it's just one of those things where, and we're not doing like advanced calculus here. It's a bad roster that needs to be renovated and turned over. And it's a bad restaurant with a bad menu, bad cooks. Okay. If they're a bad restaurant with bad cooks and a bad menu and bad ingredients and all that stuff on Monday, that's probably going to be the case on Tuesday. is probably going to be a bit of a process to bring in new cooks, new menu, new ingredients, whatever, renovate the place, and then get going. That's where we're at. And, I say it every video, basically, but sitting down with a piece of paper and your protractor and your abacus and your, ruler and whatever, and trying to solve the problem of how the Saints can be competitive right now, or how they can be good right now, or how they can do whatever right now, you're wasting your time. Because this is a long word problem. Can they be competitive or relevant in any singular moment of any singular game and, whatever, turnovers and punt return, kick return, things happen, and all of a sudden, we see it every week, sure, but that's just kind of masking the underlying issue. Could they beat Carolina? Sure. But is something going to all of a sudden click with this roster? I don't think so.
Now, I will say this. Bryan Bresee can rush the passer. Like, that is for sure.
Yeah, he's a situational
borderline
player.
Elite skill that he has. But here's the problem with that. When you select a defensive tackle in the first round, he can't be a specialist. And again, he's got a great skill, to get after the quarterback.
But similar, Bryan Bresee is a good example. Who drafted Bryan Bresee? Who was in the room? Who was the brain trust that said, let's go get this type of player? And what was the plan? Because as, you have different coaches and whatever, the plans kind of shift and change and morph and all that stuff. So he may be a player where Brandon Staley or Kellen Moore or whoever is we got a new plan now.
A third down guy for sure. But because he's so poor against the run, it's tough to play him all 3 downs. And so, if you're trying to get the value out of a first-round pick, I don't know that you can just justify him being a third down rush specialist.
You can if he's special and he's effective.
Yeah, he would have to be one of the best, if not the best, pass rusher in the NFL.
In every single pass play.
Yeah.
Yeah, every single one.
I'm not going to.
We're talking about Aaron Donald.
Yeah. Look at Micah Parsons. Besides yesterday, he's affecting every single pass play. He's affecting the scheme that you run. Right.
Edge is a little bit different than when you're playing the 3 technique. So.
It's going to be good. It's going to be fine, everybody, if you think about it.
I'm thinking. Hadn't gotten there yet.
I like it. I like it. I like, and maybe, maybe I've just reached a different level of just masochism or whatever as a sports fan, but I like the journey. I like the rebuild. I like knowing where we're at. I like not fooling myself into thinking that blank player is going to turn it around and he can be a vital part of this. I like the idea of watching, whatever, Utah versus BYU and saying one of these guys could be the next defensive tackle of the New Orleans Saints. I like watching Ohio State versus Oregon and saying, damn, some of these wide receivers, they could be the next wide receiver of the New Orleans Saints. That's where I'm at. I see the rebuild. I see the long walk. I understand the assignment. All right, ladies and gentlemen, good stuff. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.